Chapter 1. I was born in an old farmhouse. My parents had just lost their home and did not know where they would even lay their head down after having been evicted. A kind lady offered them shelter, and they were so thankful. I was born in the living room of that old house at a time when the last thing my parents needed was a second child, but here I was. I was a happy baby, and the thing I did best was to eat. I grew up loved and wanted, except for maybe by my big sister, who was not too excited at the thought of a squirmy little red-faced baby who made a lot of noise. Chapter 2. I was a very shy, quiet little girl. I worked hard in school, and there was nothing out of the ordinary about me. At 11 years of age, that changed because my daddy died. I was now the kid in the neighborhood without a dad. My mom tried to love me twice as much to make up for it. I depended on her for everything. She was my world, and that was fine with me. Chapter 3. I was a shy, quiet teenager. My life began to change rapidly when my mother remarried. My stepfather was a very kind man, and as it turned out, a doctor. You would have thought I would have been thrilled in this situation and thrived, but rather I became more unsure of myself. You see, my mother had been the cleaning lady, and I went from being the most important thing in her life to not only having to share her, but I was also now the daughter of the cleaning lady. Sadly, it just made my self-confidence level drop rather than seeing the picture as it truly was. Chapter 4. I fell in love with a Canadian police officer, and once again my life changed. He was everything I could have ever wanted, and thanks to the gift my mother had given me, without ever even knowing it, I had gained enough independence to be able to marry and move away. Chapter 5. I was a happily married wife and mother of 3 children. I still was shy, but I had so much to give my family. It never occurred to me that I would ever want or need more out of life. But children grow up and begin their own lives, and then there were 2. Well, in our house, anyways. Chapter 6. I was now a happily married wife, mother, and grandmother. Life was full and rich, and I loved every single day. There were, of course, the low spots, the worst one being the death of my son. I didn't think there could be any more pain. But then I felt that at a time I would be wrong, and I was. Chapter 7. I was now a widow, mother, grandmother, and a senior citizen. Oh, how my life had changed. I had to begin again without 2 of the people I loved more than I could ever put into words. My husband had died 13 months after my son. My girls and grandchildren were busy with their own lives. Although I was fortunate, they remained a big part of mine. Chapter 8. I was a widow, mother, grandmother, senior citizen, and in my eyes, ancient. My life was coming to an end, or was it? It was time to look around and discover what it really meant to grow old. I was surprised at the answer. It meant time to reflect on the past and learn from my mistakes. It meant time on my hands to learn new things and make new friends. It meant time just for me. Now that was a new experience. The key was time. That little word makes such a difference. I think the dictionary should describe time as just one more day to live, to love, to laugh, and just to be. Chapter 9. I am a widow, mother, grandmother, senior citizen. But most of all, I am a person with a future. I don't know if it will be a day, month, year, or maybe a lot of years. But right now, I am here and thankful for each day. I have wonderful memories, so I'm never without my loved ones. I am still fortunate enough to have my health and my faculties, well, maybe most of them. After all, isn't there that wonderful term we hear constantly, senior moments? Chapter 10, I am. These pages are yet to be written, but I've learned from the other chapters in my book that there is much more to write. The story is not over yet. I still have time to make memories, and hopefully ones that will leave my family and friends with a smile. I want them to remember me, not with pity or sadness, but with gladness for a life well lived. Last but not least, I hope when I have to say my final goodbyes, that my family will look back on my book of life and say, she filled her book to the fullest and it was a good read. The end, but I hope not for a while. Thank you.